morning and a warm welcome to reInvent 2023. It's an honor and a pleasure to kick off this year's reInvent, even if we do so probably with 50 other sessions going on at the same time. I'm Matthias Patzak, an enterprise strategist with AWS based out of Munich, Germany. And I apologize for my horrible German accent and any pronunciation grammar issues during the talk. So I said I'm an enterprise strategist. No one really knows what an enterprise strategist is. My mother probably thinks I install printers at Amazon.de. But in fact, I'm part of a team of 12 former senior leaders from commercial and public organizations who have led transformations as AWS customers. So I was CTO of AutoScout24, the leading European marketplace for buying and selling cars online. And in this capacity, we share our own experience on how to transform organizations from a people, process, and technology perspective with current customers. We also share best practices from the community, and we share how Amazon and AWS innovates at scale. And so we share with customers, and customers share with us. They share with us how they plan to run a transformation and how to set up a new operational model. And sometimes we see a bit of weird things, like I brought an example here. Point number 4 says, bring up irrelevant issues as frequently as possible, or when possible, refer all matters to committees. It's weird, isn't it? And actually, this is not an operational manual. This is a guide on how to sabotage German, Italian, and Japanese organizations during World War II. But we wouldn't sabotage our own organizations, wouldn't we? Sometimes, when I talk to customers, I have the impressions that someone in this organization is sabotaging the transformation. In this talk, I will talk about patterns that we see and how to overcome them. And it starts with that many organizations are applying outdated principles. These are Henry Fayol and Lyndall Urwick. And Henry Fayol was a French mining engineer, and Urwick was a management consultant. Yes, we had management consultants 100 years ago. And they were the thinkers of their day. So they wrote books and they wrote articles on how to set up organizations and how run businesses. And their books and their articles based on the assumption and perception that workers are lazy, not really trustworthy, and uneducated. And probably they were true with uneducated. And so this is some of the advice that they provided. The first one is on specialization. Divide work to encourage specialization. Or the second one, authority. The right to give orders and the power to require obedience. Actually, some of their advice was good and it's still valid. For example, the first one on direction. The entire organization should be aligned and be moving toward a common goal. Or the second one on initiative. Encouraging staff to show initiative is a source of strength in an organization. At Amazon, we would call this principle bias for action, one of our leadership principles. Unfortunately, management paradigms from high volume, low error manufacturing have come to dominate business organizational practices. And this is a pity because, for example, in Germany, manufacturing sector is just 27% of the GDP. In France, it's 17%, and in the US, it's 18%. And even manufacturing organizations do not apply these principles, which fits very well for some of their processes in all of their areas. But many other industries and many other organizations also apply these outdated principles. And as a consequence, this is out of an Accenture survey, 94% of CXOs said their operating model, so processes and culture, it's not about the people, it's processes and culture, put their growth and performance at risk. So the majority of senior leaders believe their own organization is a limiting factor to growth and success. And it should be the other way around. Your people, your process, your culture should be an enabling factor for success. I attended business school, a German business school, and I was taught these outdated management principles. I made my career in startups and D&B, so I got used to a different way of working. But I was taught these outdated management principles. And as leaders in organization, if we want to change this, we have to start with ourselves. And we need to unlearn the management practices that we learned in university and that grew our career. And we need to learn new ways of thinking and how new ways to set up a culture. And then we need to walk the talk and help our organizations to learn and unlearn. But we need to be very, very clear on what to keep as well. Which part of our culture, which parts of our products, and which parts of our processes. The second thing, how organizations sabotage their own transformation, is siloed organizations. Many organizations are structured by function. A design department, a marketing department, a manufacturing department. Unfortunately, with a hierarchy on top of it. And when these departments want to collaborate, co-create, and communicate, very often they have to ask for approval. And these approval processes, they take time. And what does the workers closest to the customers do while they wait? Do they wait? Actually not, they start more work. So many organizations have installed a rigid structure for control. And actually what we want to have value and flow across the value chain and strong collaboration across of it. And this is why Amazon introduced the concept of 2 pizza teams, small cross-functional teams which include all necessary functions and roles that are needed to deliver value from idea to impact. So one example on communication. So let's assume a person of the marketing department needs support and help from a person out of the e-commerce organization. And in any organization, you would believe you would just ask, can you help me? And the answer would be sure. Unfortunately, many organizations, and you can observe this with the number of people that are on CC or are on your emails. In many organizations, what then starts, it's not communication between 2 persons, many people are involved. Other individual contributors or more managers, team leaders. And in this example, it's 8 people involved. And 8 people have to maintain 28 connections, 28 communication channels, and 28 relationships. If you would involve 20 people, it would be 66 communication channels. If it would be 16 people, 122. And as a consequence, when many people are involved and decisions are made by a committee, it's unclear who is in charge and who is the actual owner of the decision. And very often, the actual decision is the least common denominator, with the purpose to make everyone happy, but actually it makes everyone unhappy. At Amazon, we act differently. So Jeff Bezos said, communication is a sign of dysfunction. It means people aren't working together in a close, organic way. And we, at Amazon, we should be trying to figure out ways for teams to communicate less with each other, not more. So, does Jeff Bezos provide and suggests silos? Actually, yes, but a different way of silos. I started this part of the talk with siloed by function. At Amazon, we're trying to set up loosely coupled teams, cross-functional silos, as I said, 2 pizza teams with every role that is needed to deliver business value from idea to impact. And this is why we can be fast at scale. Sometimes organizations also sabotage the transformation because of wrong resource allocation. And they allocate resources in the wrong areas of the organization because it's unclear what is actual purpose, mission, objective, and how to achieve certain objectives. And this reminds me on Alice in Wonderland, who asked the cat, what road do I take? And what does the cat answer? Well, where are you going? And Alice says, yeah, I don't know. And then if you don't know where you're going, every way is good or every way is bad. And actually, for organizations, there are ways on how to visualize with a map, and this would have helped Alice to find the right path, having a map, to visualize their value chain and their operational processes. And this is an adaptation of a Wardley map. On the horizontal dimension, it has predictability, low predictability, and high predictability in your organization. and it shows autonomy that you need to provide to accomplish this task. And so I came up with an example by one of my colleagues, the former CEO of McDonald's, Phil LeBrun, and he said, when it comes up to cooking fries in Mumbai, in Munich, and in Montreal, they need to look like the same. So you need high predictability. So you provide less autonomy to the people producing these fries. When building a house or implementing an ERP system, it looks a bit different. So the results and the ways to achieve these results are less predictable. So you provide more autonomy to the people. And it's even true when creating a loyalty program or reinventing retail. Reinventing retail, this is a huge challenge. Very unpredictable. So you need to provide a lot of autonomy and freedom and psychological safety to the people trying to reinvent retail. And you can cluster and structure this map in 4 areas. And the first one is Genesis. Genesis is the area where innovation happens, where research and development happens, where some curious minds in your organizations try to find new solutions for the problems of your customers. The next area is the custom-built areas, where small and agile teams build custom-built solutions to put these innovations into production. And then after some time, when some organization build custom-built solutions for the same problem, someone builds a product for it. And over time, some of the products become a utility. I brought an example. So computing in the 1950s, computers were handcrafted. But then it got a mass product with rack servers. And then Amazon made it a utility with Amazon EC2. And this is not just true for hardware, it's true as well for software. So I'm a computer scientist, and I applied SQL servers as products a lot, but Amazon made it a utility with Amazon Aurora. And using more of products and utilities enables you to put more of your resources and more of your efforts in your areas of true competitive advantage, in the areas of innovation and custom-built products. And this is why many of you are probably here to learn about the services, the utility service, and the products that Amazon provides. But using utility service is not as easy as it looks like. And this is not from a technical perspective, but this is from a psychological perspective. And many organizations have inertia, some resistance in the organization, especially when it comes to moving to the cloud. So we said we have rack servers, and now servers are a utility. And the same is true for SQL servers. And there is inertia that sabotage and slow down your organization. There is a resistance by the people running and maintaining these products. And this is very understandable, because what we ask this person, and it feels for them like we would press a reset button on their knowledge. We ask them not longer to use products that they know very well, and instead use utility. So let part of their knowledge go. At the same time, what we also ask them, by using their utility services, to create and build up skills and reskill themselves to being able to act in the area of custom-built solutions. Because what we want is infrastructure as a code. We ask, when moving to the cloud, people to use utilities, but apply it as a custom-built solutions. And now, these administrators, these operations people, they compete from their perspective with a 22-year-old graduate. And as leaders, we need to provide the psychological safety to our staff and explain that we might reset some of the knowledge, but not all of the knowledge and none of the experience. And so you can overcome this resistance that slows down some transformations in some organizations. Next topic is forgotten differentiators. What makes you, you? And again, let's have a look at Wardley maps, and this is the original Wardley map. So we had on the horizontal axis the predictability, and we have the value chain, the visibility on the vertical axis. So things on top of this map are very visible for customers, things on the bottom are not so visible. And this is an example of paying bills in the 1990s. So personal banking customers who wants to pay a bill went to a branch or paid by phone. And so the bank created an infrastructure with some custom-built products like call center, and with products like a mainframe, and some utilities like low-speed WAN. 20 years later, the map looks different. The customer got more ways to pay a bill, by app, by branch, by web, or by phone. What we also see that the custom-built call center now became a product, a great move. What we also see that this bank is using a lot of products and just very few utilities. And this is what we observe in the banking industry, but with all other industries as well. The traditional organizations work differently and apply this map in a different way that cloud-native and digital-native challengers do. So a digital-native bank, they leverage a lot of utility service, AWS services. They use a few products, but they put their efforts in the area of true competitive advantage with a back-end payment logic or a front-end application logic. And their intent is to maximize the work you don't do. So they leverage the cloud. They acquire some software, but they are very, very aware that when acquiring software, there's danger in it. Because over-customized software as a service or commercial software can become an issue and is in many organizations. So what they do, they would rather adapt the business processes to the software than adopt the software. Because from their perspective and in their culture, for them it's easier and faster to change a business process than a software. And they build innovation custom-built solutions. And from an investment perspective, traditional organizations put 55 up to 80% of their investments in the area of products and utility. Actually, it should be the other way around. The largest part of your investment and your resources and your budget should be in the area of innovation custom-built software. The addiction to over-efficiency sabotages many transformations as well. The main question here is, are you optimizing for speed or for efficiency? Actually, you need to do both. It depends on where you are. Remember Alice in Wonderland. In the areas of the utilities, the products and the utilities, your main KPI is cost. And there you can apply Six Sigma thinking. There you want to reduce variation and you want to reduce the cost and reduce the spend, because then you can reinvest this money and then resources in the area where you want to compete. And there your main KPI is speed. Speed to deliver an innovation and put it in front of your customers. There you want to reduce the cost of change and learning. It must be easy and frictionless, simple, efficient, and stress-free to change and build a solution. And actually, you can apply 4 ways of working in your organization. In the area of genesis and innovation, think about the pioneers in the Wild West. So the cowboys on their horses, riding out in this unexplored territory and try to find places where other persons could make a living. If they found such a place, the settlers would follow, and they would set up the first houses and make a living there. When they proved, and this is in our industry, proved a product and market fit, when they prove that you can make a living there, then would start building a town, building a fire station, building a police station, building a school. And later on, like what happened with Las Vegas, the city planners come. And you can apply from a sourcing perspective, not just different ways of working, but also different sourcing models. In the area of product and utilities, you can leverage more outsourced and more procured ways of working with external vendors. There it's just you want to reduce variation, and there it's also okay working in a non-agile way. It's okay to have upfront specification and hand it over to them. But in the area of innovation, custom-built solution, where you want to reduce the cost of learning and experimentation, you should use in-house 2 pizza teams, probably with embedded external experts who have done this type of technology, this type of innovation before. Some organizations managers are just managers and they fail to lead. Today, leaders run the engine. From a budget perspective, as we already saw, most of the budget is spent on just running the engine in the areas of utilities and of products. And just a slow part is spent on innovation. And the leaders, they work heavily in the system. They're heavily involved in day-to-day operation. And they spend just a small part in the area of talent and strategy. Tomorrow, modern managers, they shape the future. They spend some of the budget in running the engine, but spend most of the budget in the area of innovation. They work a bit in the system, but mostly they work on the system, optimizing the system. They spend a lot of their time in attracting, hiring, developing, and retaining talent. And they spend time in co-creating a strategy and driving its execution. And this is the most often issue that I see with strategy. Coming up with a strategy presentation is very easy, but driving the execution, this is the hard part. And the question is your leadership team a team of leaders, or as I would say, a group of leaders, or is it a leadership team? So we had this team that went out on offsite with the goal, we want to be more customer-centric. And then they come back and they translate this objective into their organizations. And the one leader says we need to cut cost. The next says we need to build a product. The next says we need to reduce the number of products we sell. And the last one says we need to open more stores. They are not aligned on their objective, and they are not aligned on their communication. And leadership teams work differently. They apply what we learned for the last 20 years with agile teams in software development, even as a leadership team. They're co-located, they share common objectives, and they have a closely aligned communication strategy. So what does leaders do? First, they define a mission. And I brought a vision with me, and I'm going to read it out loud, and it might fit for your organization as well. We will become a data-enabled organization, leveraging our cloud synergies to achieve world-class customer centricity, unmatched by our omni-channel competitors. Might be a fit for Amazon. Actually, the Amazon mission is this: to be Earth's most customer-centric company. It's a totally different way to set up mission for an organization. What leaders also do, they codify culture with leadership principles. In organizations, you should make pretty clear what is the culture you expect, what is the behavior you expect. And and we believe that principles are the organizational glue, what really makes a difference. And I brought some examples with me. The first one is, we should have integrity when we work with customers and prospects openly, honestly, and sincerely. This is from Enron. Who remembers Enron? These organizations who went out of business 2001 because of fraud. This was their leadership principles. Or we should value our employees. We expect to be customer preferred choice. And this is one what I really love. We operate within the letter of the law. And these leadership principles, they remind me on 10 things you should have learned in kindergarten. Like, share everything. Don't hit people. Say sorry when you hurt somebody. Put things back where you found them. Play fair. Clean up your own mess. Wash your hands before you eat. Don't take things that aren't you. If you have to codify things you should have learned in kindergarten, in your leadership principles, you have serious issues. And you should immediately think about your hiring process, your promotion process, and the process where you decide whom you let go. I brought other examples with me. This is out of my own transformation when we at AutoScout decided to move and transform our organization from a monolith on Oracle operated in an on-premise data center to a microservice architecture and organization, cloud native in AWS with Scala. the monolith, we used microservice technology. So this was a huge change, and we tried to provide some guidance for our staff. And these principles were facilitated and created by my chief architect, Christian Deger, and we had, for example, this one, heavily inspired by Amazon. We made this transition in 2014. You build it, you run it. The team is responsible for shaping, building, running, and maintaining its products. Fast feedback from live and customers help us to continuously improve. We also ask our people to be bold. Please be bold. Get into production early. Value monitoring over tests. Fail fast. Please, dear engineers, please fail fast. But recover and learn, optimize for mean time to recover, not mean time between failures. But we balanced this, and we had more leadership principles. We balanced this, for example, with this one, security, compliance, and data privacy. Build with least privilege and data privacy in mind. Know your threat model, so be aware of your risk. Fail fast, but be aware of your risk. And when you fail, limit your blast radius. We also had the AWS first principle. So for us, it was pretty clear we want to be cloud native, and AWS was the preferred supplier. What does leaders do as well? They provide guardrails and mechanism. And this leads to the next thing, how organizations sabotage their own organization: bureaucracy. We believe that, and it's easier said than done, that organizations should not be complexified. But when organizations grow, having more products, more areas, regions, and countries where you sell these products, more roles, more teams, you need more processes, more bureaucracy. Modern digital native organizations don't need more bureaucracy. They act in a different way. What they do, they provide clear objectives and a clear purpose. They hire great talent, provide very, very crisp and clear culture, and then they just get out of the way. And for example, you can read it in the Netflix document of culture. You find the latest version on the Netflix job page. You will also find the Netflix document of culture on SlideShares, the first version of 2009. And they explain very well the mechanics they apply while having increased complexity in their organization. They try to stay flat on the bureaucracy. And think about your last week and how much of your time you spent on activities not adding value to your customers, or the times you were waiting for colleagues or peers or managers to give you an answer and support your work. Lack of ownership is also an issue. Many organizations, there is not a clear accountability. At Amazon, we have this concept of a single-threaded owner. And the single-threaded owner owns all resources for initiatives. And they are also responsible in the long term for this product and this service. And this is differently how many organizations work with the concept of a product manager. A product manager, he facilitates, moderates, and coordinates resources. But this person does not own the resources. And they don't have long-term ownership for the product. A project has a defined start date and a defined end state. And at the end state, they hand over the result of the project, whatever it is, hopefully on time, on budget, and on quality, to another organization. Both roles remove barriers and dependencies, and both roles motivate against a common outcome. What we also see that organizations are hiring just for skills and not for attitude, as you actually should do. Because we believe that leaders need to raise the bar in the organization with every new hire. So we say hire for attitude. Hire people that are a great fit for your culture and have shown the behavior that you expect them to show in the future, that they have shown it in the past. And skills you can just learn. So hire learners. And why hire learners? 65% of children in preschool today will work in jobs that don't exist yet. And just 10% of classroom learning is retained after 3 months. But 100% of classroom learning that is immediately applied, learning on the job, is retained after 3 months. And when it comes to recruitment, there are different desires between organization and the new joiner. So usually an organization wants to pay, everyone says we pay on market, but usually they try to pay below market. They provide modest bonus and some equity. They require specific skills. The new joiner should be a fit for the manager, should take direction, and should be flexible based on task. But what does talent require? What are the desires of talents? They want to have a salary on top of the market. They would love to get some equity, but they want to have ability to learn. They expect a great tech stack and tooling. And actually, this was the reason why my organization, AutoScout, went in the AWS cloud. We got a new CEO, and he pushed me through a 3-minute IT strategy process. In the very first meeting, he asked me 2 questions. The very first question was, Matthias, he was Australian, Matthias, do you attract talent? And my answer was yes. 2013, we were releasing 12 times a day on an on-premise data center, on an Oracle database. I thought we were great. And then he asked me the second question. Matthias, how does a 21st century tech stack look like? Oracle, Microsoft technology, on-premise data center. And then I realized we hired good people, but we were not really able to hire great people from our industry. When we looked up the top 100 European websites, just 2 of them had the same technology stack as we did. And so we changed for this very strategic question, do you attract talent, our whole technology stack and the way of working? But what employers also require are they want to feel ownership and they want to be inspired by a purpose and by outcome. This is Adrian Cockcroft, a former CTO of Netflix and former VP at Amazon. And in one of his talks, he described how Netflix operates and innovates at scale. And then in a Q&A session, he got the feedback from a CTO of the Fortune 100s. And this CTO said, we can't copy Netflix because it has all those superstars engineers. And we don't have the people. What did Adrian answer? Pay them more? Actually, what he answered was, we hire them from you. And then we get out of the way. It's not, as I said, with 94% of CXO believe the operational model is a limiting factor for growth and success. It's an operating model, processes and culture. It's not, most of the time, it's not the talent, it's not the people. And this is how Netflix grows. And this leads to motivation or demotivation as a factor on how to sabotage the transformation. We believe that employees are retained by being engaged. And when is peak motivation of an employee? In a smaller forum, I got the answer on the weekend, on payday, or when they leave the company. I believe, and this is one of the valid theories about a motivation, employees are on the peak of their motivation when they sign the contract, or on the very first day. And from the very first day on, demotivation starts. Different workplace, the team is not as ready as promised. The project is not there what was promised. And this again, if you want to motivate people, try not to demotivate them. Just get out of their way. Hire them, set a great purpose, put in the right culture in your organization, and then get out of the way. When it comes to retention, there again are different desires between organizations and employees. Organizations, they want employees who stay in their role. They should take direction. Please don't ask for a raise. They should be comfortable with a performance monologue. The manager, and I've been a manager for 20 years, telling you how he perceives you. And please reskill in your own time on the weekends. Employees' desire is differently. They want to have a clarity on their career path. They want to have autonomy to work on great things. They expect to being proactively re-leveled on the market. They want to have fairness of evaluation, and they want to have continuous learning environment. And to motivate people, They need autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And it's on us leaders, and everyone is a leader, to help to improve, to move the organization in a more loosely coupled setup, to work on mastery, provide mastery, and also require mastery. This is the leadership principle at Amazon that we call insist on the high standard and create a great purpose. And sometimes in my organization, I felt it was a bit hard to make the purpose tangible for my engineers. And what we then did, we started to get out of the buildings. We went out to car dealers, and we went out to people, private persons that needed a new car because they had an accident, so there was some urgency, or they just needed a larger car because the women were pregnant and they were expecting a baby in 6 months. And this made the purpose of our organization very tangible for all of us. At Amazon, we provide a clear career path for managers and leaders, but as individual contributors as well. And at Amazon, you can, as a technical individual contributor, without having direct reports, become a senior VP and distinguished engineer who has the same rights, duties, salaries, bonus, equities like you have as an SVP. What we see when organizations are more advanced in their transformation, they're working in a more agile ways of working, that they still apply traditional ICT suppliers. And very often this is not the best fit for the operational model. So enterprises desires, when they act in the area of innovation and custom-built solutions, they want to achieve outcomes, not just deliver features. They expect the people from the system integrator to be co-located, agile and experimental. They want to reduce costs through automation, so they want to set up infrastructure as a code in the AWS cloud. They expect from the system integrator highly skilled mixed tax experts that they can inject in their agile to pizza teams, people who have done whatever they are doing right now, done before. And they would love to pay for results and share some risks. Traditional system integrators, they have a different desire. They want to generate revenue. They expect predictable, contractual, and documented requirements. They want to preserve the margins. They provide you mixed skills because they have talent, but they have to provide the talent for all of their customers. And they want to be paid for time, and they really don't want to share your risks. We're coming to an end. So the last slide. On your journey, don't photocopy someone else's organization. Who knows the Spotify model? The Spotify model actually was published in 2014 by Henrik Nieberg. I read it by myself, got very, very inspired by it. It's a great document. Actually, it's a presentation with comic style and visualizations, how Spotify operated, or parts of Spotify's operated in 2014. Spotify is not longer working this way, but still many consultants sell exactly these solutions to their customers. And the Spotify model is great for getting inspiration, but you should not copy someone else's operational model. What we recommend is that you experiment as a leadership priority. And don't overplan or overestimate the pace of change, but be stubborn on the vision. You need to have an objective, like Alice in Wonderland should have. And then be flexible on the execution. Don't just rebrand roles and processes. I can't tell you how many DevOps transformations I've seen where nothing changed despite of the title. This is not how you made progress on your journey. And please don't ignore resistance, but double down on change management and what it means, provide psychological safety. Most of the changes are hard for the people. As I said, for them it feels you're resetting their knowledge, their experience, and they compete in an unfair game. So I'm 48. I have 2 kids. My time is very limited that I could invest on learning whatever I should learn on the weekends. While my son, he's 18, it feels like for them the day has 28 hours. He just sleeps 2 of them. Whatever he wants to learn, he would be much faster than I am. So if you transform your organization, provide psychological safety in your organization, and don't delegate change. You can get agile coaches, change managers from external partners in your organization, and they can support you. But this is your company, this is your culture, this is your change. Engage in this change and delegate other boring bureaucracy, processes, and stuff to externals. So, thank you very much. I have 2 asks. First one is, Amazon is a data-driven organization, so please provide feedback on the events app. And I would love to continue to engage with you after this talk, right or left at this stage, or continue conversation on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.